What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Not a Sheep podcast. My name is Matt. I'm here with my bro, John or Narwhal.
What's up, guys?
And today we're joined by the one and only Kaleb Mitchell. What's going on, bro?
Yo, what's going on? Thank you guys for having me, bro. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Like, we've been super excited for this one. We've had a lot of people requesting you to come on the show, and we've obviously been like a fan of you for years. So it's cool to finally talk to you. But right off the bat, we were talking a little bit about this before, but how does it feel to just finally have the album out after like 2 years of putting work into it?
Yeah, it's definitely like a weight off my shoulders, and it definitely feels, I don't know, it feels good to be kind of back in the swing of things because, for a while, just, with different situations, even stuff that I talked about on the album, it kind of took me away from music. And, 2 years go by and, you start to wonder, okay, am I even, relatively relevant or on people's minds anymore? But, it was really heartwarming just to see people's responses to specifically like the content on the album and just seeing people resonate with the things that I was talking about. So it feels good. It feels good to be back.
Yeah, there's not a lot of artists that can like go away like that. And then when they come back, the fans are still like so excited. And like obviously the fans were. And I know you did a short film to go along with the album too, right? And you premiered it and everything, right?
Yeah, we which is crazy because my manager had texted me one day and she was like, "Yo, you want to do a movie?" I was like, "Huh?" It's like that's an idea that I've had for a long time. Like I knew that whatever movie that was going to be like about my life was going to be called "So Help Me God," just because it's like probably the biggest part of my brand at this point. And she texted me, goes, "Yeah, so you want to make a movie?" I'm like a movie? She's like, "Yeah, like a short film to go with the album." And I'm like, "Okay, how are we gonna do this?" Like she was super vague at first. I didn't know how things were gonna happen, and she literally popped up with a location scout, talent scout, and all the rest. Like I would not be who I am. This rollout would not look like how it looks without her. She's a legend. Erin Knight. She kind of found me in like 2017-ish. And since from there, it's just been, we're just trying to progress, man. Like this whole movie process, like I sent her a treatment, pretty much sent her everything that I wanted, like a whole outline. And from there, in like a matter of a week or so, we were on set filming. So it was a very quick process.
Damn.
Yeah, man. Like I wrote the treatment. I was actually in the process of moving. I wrote the treatment and finished it like 4 a.m, and then slept for like 2 hours and got up and moved the last couple like pieces of furniture out my house. And then I think 2 or 3 days later, we were on set filming for 4 or 5 days. And yeah, we wrapped it up actually very quick. So it was a lengthy process in terms of, just not sleeping and stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, it really didn't take that much time.
Yeah. What's the process like for you as like the artist kind of creating this cinematic experience for something that you made musically? Like, how did you kind of build that into this film? And obviously, so I assume that she found a director, like a local director that like worked with you to create this vision that you wanted. Like, how did it, I don't know, that must have been really a different experience than anything you've done before, right?
Actually, so it's actually a funny story. In high school, I went to a technical high school, and they pretty much set it up to where it's like you almost have majors, kind of. And I was in multimedia, so that's like we covered film, photography, and a little bit of music. And I was pretty much the only person there that was kind of like a musician. Like I put "So Help Me God" 1 out when I was still in high school. So like by the time that I'd graduated, I'd scored like a 40-minute film by myself and stuff, and it was just kind of like exhausting, but I'm kind of glad I did it and got experience around, just being on set and learning different techniques and lighting and XYZ and stuff like that. But this is my first time like being in a directorial like role, which is kind of like, it was a little bit scary at first because it was like, dang, I don't want to mess up. But my guy Kanye Brown, he ridiculous, like photographer, and really just like went crazy. Him, a guy Preston, and Brandon Boone, like they all pretty much came together and did director of photography was Preston, and Ye pretty much had like the entire vision of, all right, we're gonna do certain scenes this way, and we're gonna set it up this way. And I pretty much brought them the words, and then they brought, okay, this is how we're gonna shoot it. This is how it's gonna look on camera and all the rest of it. So they, it was really a collaborative effort, but it was like everything that was on screen. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but everything that was on screen is like literally just literal moments from my life that I just wrote out into a script. So we just did our best to kind of make it look as, dramatic and stuff as possible on screen. Yeah.
That's super sick that like everyone was kind of on the same page and like everyone knew exactly the story that you're trying to tell. That's super cool.
Yeah, man.
So you said that you knew from the get-go that like if you ever had a movie about your life, it would be titled So Help Me God. Why? Where did that come from? Like how come that line in particular do you feel like resonates so much and is like the foundation of
your brand in a way?
Yeah, your brand.
It's actually crazy. When me and my manager first met each other, our first show that we did was in Toronto, and this is like March of 2017, and I believe So Help Me God came out June 2017, and I was touring with two titles. I was either gonna name it By Any Means or I was gonna name it So Help Me God, and I knew that this was gonna be like my first like commercial project. So I'm like, I don't know, it kind of has to be a little bit dramatic and like, just kind of something that's going to catch people's attention. But it also was something that it just made a lot of sense for me to call it that, because at that time I was just in a place where I wasn't trying to take no for an answer. Like I was just super hungry at that time. And it was there was a lot going on, and I was just trying to be able to, hone in and like focus on this music thing, despite whatever else was going on around me. And I was like, listen, man, so help me God, I'm gonna make this thing happen. And I was like, there has to be a title. Like, and then around that time that I had the title of the project, I think Kanye had announced that his album was either TurboGrafx first or something like that, and then it was So Help Me God, and it was like, I was like, I gotta scrap this, and I had By Any Means, and which is crazy because the first post that I ever posted leading up to the project, it was like this super dark image of me. You couldn't even see my face, and the caption was literally just By Any Means, because I was kind of leaning towards that at the time. And then he changed it like 30 more times. So I was like, dang, I might be in the clear to use this because I really want to use it. And then, things just started working out, and I just locked in on the So Help Me God thing because it just felt the most appropriate, just thematically with the music and the kind of like just the tone and hunger of everything that I was talking about, in those records. And it just took on a life of its own after that. Like it just became, I guess, like just synonymous with my brand and stuff like that. And just that font and the logo and stuff like that, just putting the stuff on clothes, and people started tattooing it on themselves and stuff. And it just took on a life that I wasn't expecting at all. So it was just something that kind of like happened naturally.
That must be pretty wild to see one of your fans get it tattooed on themselves.
Bro, I showed it to my mom. She almost started crying. Like I was like, fam, I don't know how. You don't really realize how powerful something you say could be to somebody else. And I feel like that's something that I'm always like constantly relearning, because you just get to a point where you're running through your daily routine. You might be just making a song for the sake of just creating for yourself, or you just feel inspired and you just say something, and you don't really realize how that could resonate with somebody and truly like impact them. So it's like it's almost like a heavy responsibility, but also at the same time, I think it's super dope that you can really connect with other people through music like that.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, like, besides your obvious like growth in music, what have been like the biggest differences working on So Help Me God 2 versus the first one?
It was a lot more interactive with the people involved in the album. I think for the longest time, I just got comfortable being by myself and creating and stuff like that. I still don't really like record with other people in the room just because it's kind of like a distraction for me. But in terms of like the production and just even down to the mastering and mixing and stuff like that, I was way more inviting, I guess, of other people. And I felt like at that time it just came naturally because I was in a weird dark place just because of everything that was going on around me, and I needed to physically get out of my house and be around my friends and stuff. So literally just like listening to a random guitar loop at Enzo's house and we end up making Dawn, or sitting in Anthony's basement and mastering Another Day, Another Dollar 20 times, or literally actually just being able to link with Kevin and actually physically shoot our first cover in person. That actually meant a lot to me because it was like we've been working remotely since we were both like 15 or 16 years old. I think the first thing we ever did was Get It, and it's just been like, dang, we really got to be able to shoot, and for him to actually be able to come to Jersey and we actually shoot something together, it was just super dope. Just having like a whole like full circle type moment. There's a bunch of full circle moments that have happened throughout this entire album process. Like, even getting Xavier on the album, he's the reason that my manager knows who I am. Like, I posted a cover on SoundCloud in 2016 or 17, and Xavier had followed me and reposted that. And my manager was a fan of him, and she was like, "Yo, who is this kid?" And years later, for us to be like cool and stuff, and from the get on my album, and he's the reason like we all know each other. It's just a whole bunch of like full circle stuff that came together that just kind of I don't believe it to be coincidence. Like it was super dope creating this project.
Yeah, man. I this might sound super philosophical, but there's this website called Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows, right? And I heard about it a while ago, but yesterday I was actually reading through it, and it's all these terms, these words that this guy created to describe emotions that everyone can relate to, but they don't have like a word for it. And
Yeah.
one of the words yesterday that I actually found was the feeling when you sit back and you realize that your life is this combination of all of these millions of different decisions and like random events that seem
like totally random.
They seem like these random useless decisions you made. Like you go get food here, or you go talk to this person, or you post that, or you do this, and it's like it's just this realization that it's all led you to this point. And it's you probably have moments like that especially when you've been working towards a goal for a really long time, like this big dream, and then having moments, like you said, these full circle moments where you're like, damn, like this has actually come together, and it's been like a crazy journey.
Bro, that's something that I think about often. Like, sometimes in life when, we all go through certain ups and downs, and be like, dang, man, I wish I couldn't have gone through this, or I wish I could have avoided XYZ. I stopped saying that a while ago because I'm like, I don't know if I'd be the person that I am today. Like, I don't know if I'd be on the other side of a super, like, tough situation and be as, like, mentally strong as I am now. Like, I don't know if I'd be in this position. I don't know if some small decision I made when I was younger would even keep me away from music or finding music. Like, I don't regret anything that's happened because I feel like it all brought me to this point. So like, I'm kind of just taking things as they come.
Yeah, man. And it's just cool that the people around you, like a lot of the people that you mentioned that you worked on this project with, are people that have been with you for like the journey. Like they've been there for the long haul. Like I feel like that. Because when we were talking just the other week with 1995, Anthony, and he mentioned, he's like, I've worked with artists that I don't really have a personal relationship with. To me, to them, I'm just a producer. We go in, make a beat, but he's like, you lose that intimacy of like a relationship and creating something,
building together.
Yeah. And so he was saying that working with people like you and just people that you're close with, like, add a whole new layer to it.
Man. That's something about me. Like, even my manager knows. Like, I really don't. When it comes to creating music, I don't like being in unfamiliar places and being around a whole bunch of different people that are like, just there because this is just a music thing, or this is or just an opportunity to be around other industry type people. Like, that's cool and stuff. And meeting other artists it's cool, but like when it's not, when there isn't a genuine connection there between the two people, or however many people are in the room, it's like, it just feels awkward to me. And I can't really sit there and like crack a joke or something like that, or we have like an inside joke and everyone in the room could, break the ice and all the rest. It's just like it doesn't feel right to me. Like, I like being around the people who I'm already cool with, who know my demeanor, who know I know them, they know me, and it's just a lot easier to get the creative juices flowing. I feel like, I mean, I've definitely worked with people who I haven't been super close with, but I feel like every time that's happened, we've just naturally formed a relationship. So it isn't just like a one-time transaction and we're just done with it type thing. Like, I like being connected to the people that I'm working with.
One thing that I wanted to kind of ask you is, obviously this project's been in the work for a while now. What were the things that kind of like built this journey? Like, why was this such a long time in the making? What about kind of the story you were trying to tell, or just like, I don't know, about just your life during the process? Like, why was this such a long anticipated thing? And what kind of led up to that?
All right. So I dropped an album in 2018 called Mitchell. And then right after that, I put another one out and it was called 973. And I say this a lot, like, Mitchell was planned, 973 was not. It was kind of like an accident and it came together in like 2 weeks. It was I was bored, to be honest. Like, I put the album out and I believe that we were off of the road by that time. So I was just in the house, like, I think August and September, and I was kind of bored for that like period of time. And I don't know what it was, but October, I just hit this weird stride and just made record after record, like King Kong for Real. And I think Take It There and stuff like that. And it took a life of its own throughout that time. And I was like, I have like 8 or 9 records. Like, we got to put something out. And I literally texted my manager. I'm like, yo, I want to drop like an EP type situation on Halloween and have nobody know about it. And which is like, it was a cool decision. I'm probably never going to surprise drop again. As much as I love my fans and stuff like that, they're kind of like ravenous. So I dropped the album. And then the next day, people were like, yo, I need more. I'm like, fam.
I just spent like a long time making this.
Like, I just give you 2 albums. You have to relax. But, I had that title 973 for a long time just because it's where I'm from and like it means a lot to me. And I didn't know I was gonna use it so soon, but it kind of fit. And it just felt like that entire project's energy just kind of like felt like Jersey, especially with Anthony doing a lot of the production. And it was just like a lot of just dusty boom bap type northerner type beats. And I was just like, okay, so I'm just call this 973. From there, I had the idea of making another project, but then 2019, the beginning of 2019 is when I started getting sick. And then over time, it just developed into, it was an infection, like a sinus infection. And then by summertime, like June of 2019, I was done. Like, my voice was shot because I was coughing so much. And I had a bunch of demos and loose, like 30% done ideas that were from before I was sick. But none of them kind of like made the album. The only thing that made the album from that time was the beat from the second half of Hell and Back. I had that pre the whole Def Jam situation where we put the single out with them. I had that beat, and it was just a weird time trying to like start piecing together things from others. It was weird because I felt like I was like working at 40% capacity because just my voice was shot. Like I was writing a bunch, but all the demos that I had were terrible because I didn't feel it because I was hearing myself like, I don't sound like me. Like it was almost scary. It sounded like I had a pitch like filter on my voice. And it was super depressing because I'm like, fam, I've been making music every single day since I was 13. Like there hasn't been a time where I just like stopped. Like I've been doing this every day since I was 13 and now I'm 21 and I can't do music. Like it was really demoralizing and it just kind of like left me like questioning like my purpose and all the rest of that. And you just start.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you go.
How long was this process of you being sick for and like kind of not being able to record anything?
I think it started off as like a little sinus infection. Like I was good with speaking until around March-ish, and then it just started getting to the point where it was like really in the way. And by June till I want to say November or something like that, it was not there.
Damn, so that's like over half the year. That's like 8 months or something.
And in
that's
the middle
crazy.
of that, in October, I had my first show in New York. And I was like, God. I can't really turn this down. So I drank mad tea. Like I was just eating mad cough drops. Like I had like a 30-minute window. And for some reason, I was able to like yell over it to where you can't really tell.
Oh.
But as soon, because like my shows are like aggressive anyway. And when I was singing, it was kind of like you couldn't really hear it because I was obviously singing higher notes than my actual speaking voice. So it was kind of like you couldn't really hear it. But by the time Get It was finished and I had done all of that yelling, it was done. Like we were out getting something to eat and I was like, can you pass me?
Oh my God.
It was terrible. And I had recorded Hell and Back before my voice had gotten to the point where it was unusable. So I was like, you know what? I don't have anything right now. I'm just going to put Hell and Back out on Halloween and see what happens. And after that, fortunately, my aunt, she had antibiotics because we had been trying a bunch of different medicine and stuff like that, but it wasn't going away. So we talked to my aunt. She had antibiotics, and I started taking them like once every day. And after it started healing itself, and then I started kind of getting my confidence back and stuff. And the first thing that I recorded was the hook for Ballin'. Because Kyle had sent me this beat, and I was like, man, I feel like I'm back to myself. And I was like, and it just came to me. It was just like, dang, I kind of feel this right now. So yeah, that was the first thing that I did as soon as my voice came back. And then from, I want to say like late December till I finished it late January. Like I was from that time, like, so just, I want to say like, probably like a month and some change, like I was able to start recording all the things I had written down and just polishing everything that was from when I was sick and all the rest of that. And the pieces started falling and it just became what it was, like kind of quickly in the grand scheme of things. But it, because of the whole sickness throughout the it felt like the longest time ever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we just kind of hit a stride where I'd get sent something or I'd send something out and we get it done and I'd come up with an idea and then I'd chop a record in half and all, and boom, we have Numb, then X, Y, like just things just started falling in place. And yeah, it was a wild process, but looking back, it was super fun just piecing those things together like that.
So basically, like you were, by January 2020, you were fully healthy again for the most part?
Yeah, I was probably at a good like 90% by January. And by the time we shot the album cover, that was February, I was kind of like, I was back to like, pretty much full kind of like health with my voice and stuff.
Yeah. Well, the other week we were talking with this girl, Anna Thompson, who's a super dope Seattle pop singer, but she was saying how like for artists, not just music artists, but like comedians or podcasters or anyone who uses their voice as like their career, basically, it's like, it's your instrument. It's like the most foundational part of what you do. And to not have, or like if your voice isn't taken care of or isn't right, like that changes everything.
It's
so
like getting injured as an athlete.
Yeah, like a bad injury. So for you, like that must have been a really
pretty
tough,
brutal,
like depressing time, not being able to do the thing that you love the most,
Yeah, man. It was crazy just because of and compounding that with like everything that was going on around me. Like my friend had just gotten killed, and there was just a whole bunch going on with my family and just different stuff that, was kind of weighing on me a lot. So then being able to express myself throughout that time probably would have helped. And the fact that I couldn't do that was kind of like killing me. I was like, I can't even talk about this. I can't write about this. I can't record this. Like it just kind of sits with you. So it was a dark time. It was a dark time, but I'm grateful that I was able to create this body of work and kind of use it as like therapy to, just express certain things.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like since you couldn't do things for a while but maybe you wanted to, do you feel like that kind of built up some like sense of like when you finally could sing again?
Go off.
Did you just like go off and just have like a ton of creativity?
Bro, definitely. I think that kind of inspired the hook for Rim. Okay. Because that was written after I was coming out of it. And it was just like, I don't know. I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm balling for every time I was benched. Like I felt like I had just been like sidelined in life. Like you get to the point where you look at social media and all the rest of that, and all your friends is on tour, and people are just moving forward and progressing, and it kind of feels like you're getting left behind. So it's like, dang, you get to a point where you're like kind of comparing yourself to other people's situations, and that's just not a healthy place to be in. So I just felt like, I don't know, I just had to get that kind of feeling across and just express myself and just feel like, man, I gotta get back on my A game. So that a lot of that kind of felt like even stuff like Bust Down and just like Another Day, Another Dollar, definitely just that kind of energy carried throughout the album. I definitely wanted to feel like just a triumphant kind of like feeling throughout the record.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I was just going to lead in. Matt had a question that you thought of that I thought was a good question about, because he just mentioned like being a bench warmer kind of and like being put on the sidelines.
Yeah. And like your whole brand of like Benchwarmers, like what does that mean to someone like who maybe hasn't heard of like what Benchwarmers is? Like, what does that mean to you to be like a benchwarmer?
For me, it's kind of like just taking the term and like flipping it on its head, kind of, because the connotation is usually, the benchwarmers are like the ones who might be the least talented. And I don't feel like that's the case. I just feel like those are the people who haven't been given a shot. So whatever field it is, I don't care if you're practicing to become a nurse, or you're, if you're a painter and you're trying to get, something shown in a gallery, or just different situations where you feel like you have everything it takes, but you're just not given that chance to be able to showcase your skills. Those are the benchwarmers to me. And that was a direct, like a direct reference from my actual sports days. Like before I was in music, I played basketball and football literally all my life until I got to high school. Yeah, I was in high school when I stopped. And just this one coach in middle school, bro. I don't know what his beef was with me, but he would not let me in these games. Like I was on varsity and all, like he would not let me in the game. He put me in for 2 minutes and I'm getting subbed out. I'm like, dang, all right, bro. Like, so I kind of sat back and I was just trying to figure out one day what I could call, the group of people that supported me. I don't really like using the term fans, but the group of people that supported me, like Rihanna has the Navy, like there's the Deadheads, there's just different groups of people who, it's just something to galvanize everyone that follows you. So I don't know, I was just thinking about my days being in sports and all the rest of that, and Benchwarmers just clicked, and I was like, okay, that's a light bulb. So, and from there, I just started running with it and became just multifaceted, like even my publishing and just different stuff like that. This is all under Benchwarmers now. So that's like the hub of everything that I do.
That's sick, man.
That's dope.
And it's like, bro, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people who just played high school sports or any sports have had that experience where like a coach, like I'm not even saying I'm the best, but like I could play instead of that other guy and we would get the exact same thing done. Like maybe I don't deserve to be a starter, but like, bro, I should be playing some more minutes than this. But,
I feel that. I feel that for sure.
So earlier you mentioned you just briefly touched on Get It. And I've read the interview with you about kind of how that went down and like what happened with Get It. And I'm sure you've told the story a lot, but I think it's a pretty interesting story of how you connected with Def Jam and like how
re-released it,
you re-released it and everything. So do you mind kind of just explaining that, a little bit of the backstory to that? Because I think it's a super cool story.
Yeah, definitely. Of course. So this was like kind of like mid-album process or a little before it. I think like March or April around 2019, where this dude, shout out to Jason Peerless, super dope dude from Def Jam, he was just a fan. And he DM'd me and he was like, man, like, I just want to talk to you guys, like, you and your manager, whatever. And we ended up actually being able to just, I think I'm trying to figure out what happened first. We started talking to Jason and he wanted to talk to me and my manager. He was just a fan of the music and stuff. And, at first, we're both kind of wary of record label people just because, like, I don't know if people know this or not. Like, I don't really try to publicize it and stuff like that. Like, I might like reference it in a rap, but we've been turning like labels down since I was like 16. Like, so we're not really new to the courting process of record labels. We're just, and I've been offered some terrible deals. So it's been a long process of just like waiting and just not being excited when people hit us up. So we kind of like let them chase us a little bit, but he was persistent. He was actually a fan. So my manager was like, okay, let's like actually like take this seriously. We started talking to him, and apparently he was going around just campaigning for us in the office. And the next thing we know, he was like, yo, Paul Rosenberg wants to meet you. And I said,
wow,
excuse me. Just me being like a fan of just like, older Eminem stuff and just being influenced, especially by the 8 Mile movie. Like that was a big catalyst of how I kind of got into rap, because it was just a battle scene where he was like, now tell these people something they didn't already know about me.
Yeah,
and 8 Mile. And I was like, yo, I was 8 years old. I was like, this is fire. I want to do this.
Yeah.
And just all that stuff. And finally getting up to that office and just waiting there and just seeing like pictures of Jay-Z and Ye on the wall and stuff like that. And then him walking in and being like all 6'8" and mad brolic. I'm like, hey, I'm Paul Rosen. I'm like, fam, I know. Like, I know who you are. Like it was just wild. It was kind of a surreal moment just being there. And it's I think it was Get It that kind of caught their attention. Especially like the other people in the office, like Get It was the one that kind of got people's like attention. And they have a partnership with the Jets where they have like the season anthem. So every year there's a Def Jam artist that they have the season anthem for the Jets. But I was not a Def Jam artist, but they had already started talking to the Jets about this song while we were kind of like introducing ourselves and stuff. So they're kind of like pressed into a corner where it was like, we kind of got to get something done like immediately because the Jets want the record now. So I was like, oh.
So you had the advantage. Like you had all the power kind of.
Kind of, yeah. It was between my song and another song. And they had they kind of scrapped the other one, and the Jets were like, "We want this one." So we were kind of in an interesting situation where they kind of had to come up with something fast. So we did a single deal with them, and we were able to get the record out to the Jets. And every single Sunday at the home games, like we would play over the speakers and stuff like that as the players came out the tunnel. Yeah, that was just. It was a dope way to kind of be on the inside without really like being all the way on the inside. Cause like they obviously don't have my albums and stuff like that, but it was dope. It was dope seeing just how like a peek behind the curtain. Okay, this is how majors work and things like that. And like certain things were a headache. So I'm like kind of glad that we weren't, fully on like the roster all the way type stuff. But yeah, I was just grateful for the situation because it just taught us different ways how to move and things like that. And I'm still super, super cool with Jason. He's a dope dude. Like I'm forever be cool with that guy. But in terms of like the album and stuff like that, we knew that it was going to be something that we had to like put our all in behind like independently because we had a vision that wasn't like really traditional to like a label situation. Like just our thinking and their thinking is like a little bit differently. Just, I think with any major, they just think more social media, like what do the kids like and what's the single and who's going to be a feature. And we're just like, yo, how does the project look? Like, how does it feel? Like, how can we creatively roll it out? Things like that. So I'm kind of glad that we were able to do this like independently.
Yeah. Are you a Jets fan?
I was. So it's kind of like the thing, right? Like I love the Jets, man. You know what I'm saying? But I grew up in a Giants household. Pretty much, they play in the same freaking stadium, so it's like it doesn't make a difference, bro. Like, and yeah, so we were just. I'm a Jets fan, by proxy, kind of.
Yeah.
But shout out to them, like their whole organization, they're super dope. Like they give to me and like my little brother with jerseys and hats and stuff like that. So shout out to them.
Yeah. So do you feel that like, I don't know, that's really interesting. I mean, most of the artists we have on this show are independent artists. And it's just cool to see because now you've kind of been on like both sides of it. And do you feel that releasing this album independently kind of just like, were you just worried that if you try to do this with a label that things would get changed creatively or
you don't
that
have control,
wouldn't be released in the way that you envisioned from the get-go? And like, do you just feel like it came out exactly 100% how you want? And is that, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of the most important thing, right?
Yeah, this is definitely the way it should have came out. I feel like even ideas down to the movie and stuff like that wouldn't look the way it was. It wouldn't, especially because we had to, while we were waiting to, just get certain funding and stuff like that independently, like the album was done already. And I just went back and just added different stuff to it because I had nothing else to do while we were just waiting for the right opportunity, just to get funding and just different resources to be able to like, shoot the movie, put money behind promo, XYZ. So that kind of put almost an extra year on it. So it was kind of hard, just being patient, sitting on content just because, you as an artist, you get tired of hearing yourself kind of. So that was it was a long process, but I'm very glad that we stuck this out and did it ourselves because if it was in a label system, like I don't think the records on this album, especially having the range of records that are on here, just it doesn't really make sense traditionally. Like they I've heard I've heard different things, like even playing them records like Another Day, Another Dollar. Like I've heard people say, "Oh, this sounds too regional. This is very New Yorkish." But what about people on the West Coast, or this audience doesn't like this or whatever X Y Z, and it just gets to the point where you're just like, I don't care about what any of y'all are saying. I'm just gonna create what feels natural to me, and that honestly, in my opinion, is always the best product because I don't want to think about an algorithm when I'm making a song. Like I feel like that takes the soul out of it. And not saying that, everyone in who works for a record label doesn't have a good ear, but certain people are just worried about X's and O's and just dollar signs and just trying to get a profit across. And that's not my aim. Like I'm trying to paint a picture and connect with the people who are listening. Like I really don't. I'm not into the TikTok dances and things like. I don't make songs for that. Like
Yeah.
I make songs like that I think my heroes would like. Like I like listening to the people who inspire me and being like, okay, how can I emulate this? How can I create my dark fantasy? How can I create a project that's gonna like stand the test of time? And that's my kind of goal. Like I don't really have a goal of just like numerically or we got to make this amount of money or whatever. Like that's never been my aim. Like at the end of the day, I live and die by the art. So it's definitely much better that we did this our way.
Yeah. Who are some of your like biggest inspirations in music?
First rap song that I ever like really liked and actually sat down and watched it premiere for the first time was Jesus Walks. And that was when I was like 5 years old. I think what was that, like 04?
04, yeah.
I was 5 years old. And I had just come home from school and like 106 in Park was on TV. And it was this guy standing on TV with a polo backpack and polo and t-shirt and stuff like that. And he was premiering his new video and it was Jesus Walks. Like I grew up in a Christian house. So I was like, wait, this sounds like the rap stuff that I love. But this also sounds like some of the stuff I heard in church.
Yeah.
And it was like the best of both. I was like, this dude is nuts. So then I just became like a Kanye stan. Like my older brother, he's a little bit older than me. So he was able to, buy music and stuff on his own. So he had the Dropout, late registration and all the rest of it. Like he was playing that stuff around me and just hearing things like Gold Digger and stuff like that. Cause I've heard like those kinds of samples and stuff like that from my parents because they would play the old music, but then I'd hear him flip the kind of stuff into like, I was like, wait, he's mixing the old. And it was mind blowing to me as a kid.
Yeah.
So I was kind of really introduced like to sampling and hip hop and production, like through Kanye's early stuff. So him, I definitely put Kanye up there. Michael Jackson was somebody that kind of like influenced my singing side. Like I saw the Thriller video. At first I was terrified by it when I was a kid. But then I heard just different records like Human Nature and just Butterflies by him. And just, I was like, this is just gorgeous music. Like you can't not feel this. And I would literally sit and just try to practice the different things that he would do with his voice. And him, Alicia Keys, like early on, and just being influenced by a bunch of different styles. I think kind of like made me who I am because I'm all over the place, and it sometimes it gets to be overwhelming because you start thinking like, oh, but what if this audience wants this or this audience wants this? And especially like annoying too when you'll post something or you drop something and people are like, yo, I really like your singing voice. Like I like the rap stuff, but can you sing more? And then this dude's like, yo, the bars is crazy, bro. We need that aggression. And it's just, you can't please everybody.
You can't win, bro.
No, not at all. So like I feel like I finally found like a real like nice middle ground between everything where I can incorporate the singing and the rapping and just put it together where it just like lives in harmony on a project.
Yeah. And then you hope, I mean, I would assume the hope as an artist is that you don't really even have to think about, am I going to
sing
do
or
a rap or like a singing song or whatever. You just
comes,
do whatever feels right, and hopefully the people like it. And like that's what I think is special about building your fan base and your career the way you're going about it. Is like you probably could have, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but you could have had opportunities probably where you could have made more money or got more promotion or
like
plays if you had
the rap stuff.
Just doing the rap or doing what's like popular and what people want, instead of kind of going about your art in your way and what you think is like the most important. But like in the long run, I feel like your way is probably going to pay off more
it's
because
going to build leverage.
Yeah. And more of like a connection with the fan base, you know?
Yeah, man. My manager will tell you this with even performances and just certain things. Like, I'm not afraid to like turn down money just because I feel like I'm not really motivated by it like that. Like, obviously, everyone wants to turn a profit. Everyone wants to be able to feed their family. But if I feel like something is compromising to the brand or just doesn't feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm not gonna do it. Like even being around just certain like label people, like they like pitch ideas of who you should work with, and then I'd look at the person that they're suggesting, and I'd be like, so what did you see in them that connected with me? Is it literally just like the matter of a dollar sign, or just like I don't feel. If I don't feel it, it's not going to translate well because you're going to see it all over my face that I'm not feeling this at all.
Yeah.
And the people around me like know that. So it's like, I'm glad that I have the manager that I have because she completely understands my vision. And we're on the same page about everything. So it's very easy to work with her. But, just, I don't know, just feels like, a lot of times, especially in the majors and things like that, it's just like forced opportunities and let's get the biggest name possible for XYZ. Like, I don't care. Like, I want the person who's the dopest who's going to get on this record. I don't care if they got 10 followers or 10 million. Like, I'm not really motivated by that type of stuff. Like, again, I said, like, it's about the art.
Yeah. Damn, that's a really good way to put it. I've never even thought about that. I don't know exactly how you worded it, but you said basically like if someone pitches you this idea of working with some artists, it's like, what do you see in them that complements or would go well with me? Like, that's a really good question to pose to people, because then you figure out, do you actually see something there that connects us, or is it just the money, or is it just the streams or whatever?
That's, like I've been I've been proposed certain things, and it's just like even records on this album, people were like, oh, you should take this person off or move it on and get this other feature. And I was, no. And like every single time that I was proposed something, it was just like, nah, not at all. So I kept every single person on here. Like I know, I think except for Lisa, who was on Stuck on You, we were introduced to somebody else, and I just thought she was super dope. So we got on Stuck on You. But like Keenan, we went on tour together. Drew's been my guy for the longest. Like all these people who the Saga, I've known since I was 14, 15. Like all these people who are on this project, like we have a connection with, and we know each other's strengths. We know each other. Well, this person's gonna sound here. This person's gonna sound dope here. Like I'm about this song. Like I'm about this record. Like I'm not about, oh, let's go grab this guy because he got a bunch of Spotify listeners. Like I don't care, bro. Is the song gonna sound good or not? Like that's my thing.
Yeah. And as a fan, like I think it's dope when you announce the album and I'm like, oh, sick, there's another Drew feature, because like he's been on your last 3 projects. Just seeing like a familiar name, it like I don't know, it's really cool as a fan because it's like reoccurring characters on a movie almost. It's like that same sort of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely like I definitely view all my stuff as like one kind of cinematic piece. And I kind of broke this down. I think I was on Discord and I kind of broke this down. But since Soliloquy, like up till now, the only real breaks in the storyline have kind of been 45 and Mitchell. And I kind of made those projects to be like the driving music to the rest of the storyline, if that makes any sense. Like Soliloquy, if you listen to every single project, it's a time period in my life, and it just moves the story along up until present day, where I'm talking about right now with So Me God 2 and 45 and Mitchell. Those are like what would be like the music inspired by the film. Like I kind of think of things in like grand storylines. So that's just something that interests me. Like I'm a nerd when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like I want the songs to blend with each other, and you don't know what's the end and what's the beginning. Like I just like that kind of experience. Like I go crazy when it's about that kind of stuff, just because I want everything to look as presentable and just be as different and just be like it just stand out from other stuff. And just I want to create an experience every time you see my name like on an album or anything like that. So just bringing different people along and just bringing the same characters you've seen before and just stuff like that. I just think like that. So it's crazy that you actually pointed that out, because no one has ever said it that way, as like recurring characters. But yeah, that's exactly how I view it.
Yeah, it's like
That's awesome.
it's like a cinematic universe of like a superhero franchise, but like with music.
Exactly.
It's like, oh my God, I know Drew.
Mitchell-verse.
I didn't expect Drew to be here again.
Yeah.
Or like whatever.
Literally, I call it like this my origin story, I guess. Like all of this is, I feel like that it even falls into the whole like Bruce Wayne, like Alias and all the rest of that, just the bats and stuff like that. It just took on a life of its own. Like this has been like a Marvel movie this entire time with all these different projects and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love on the projects too. Like you mentioned it, but like when the transitions, when like a song's playing, like you almost don't even know when one song's over and a new one comes on. Like you've been doing that too with like Watch Out. I remember had this like crazy transition when that comes in. But when you're building the album, is that like something you're just doing yourself, or is it like you and whoever's producing with you, you're kind of thinking about different ways to just make it more cohesive? Or I don't know, what's that sort of like?
That just the transitions and just like different sound effects and things that I've been doing throughout like all of my projects, that's been something that I thought about a long time ago, just because I would hear, like even hearing songs by Kanye where, you know, the intro would be, you know, the principal or the teacher, whatever, talking to him about him sleeping in class and wake up, Mr. Woods, Mr. Woods, Mr. Woods, and just bring it. Like, that's so hard to me, like the way those blend together. It is just like, dang, I want that for myself. Like I want to create a cinematic experience. Like I want to create it like just like almost like an audio book. Like I want it to flow together, but I also want the records to be able to like be so strong that they stand on their own. And I feel like I've finally gotten to that place where it's exactly how I want it. Like how, for instance, like Stuck on You will go like into a completely different mood. Like Role Model will, that phone call will perfectly blend in the smile and just like it, just things like that. I want to be able to just create this fluid experience and not just feel like, all right, I'm listening to a song. Okay, this song is over. I kind of liked it. I'm listening to this song. All right. Like I feel like that just becomes monotonous and just, it just gives people a more of a feeling of like when it's over, you kind of don't even realize that it's over. Like, especially with the way it ends, it loops back into the beginning with the tape sounds and stuff like that. So it's just a whole, it's like it's in like an unbreakable loop. Like I love that kind of stuff. So that's something that I've definitely wanted to implement my entire career. But I feel like now we've kind of like perfected what I wanted with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I was wondering, so obviously, you just mentioned Role Model, and it's Role Model Part 3, but then there's also Another Day, Another Dollar Part 2, and then the album is kind of a part or like a second. And I was just wondering, for you as the artist, what kind of like is the criteria in your mind in order for something that is
you want to make
worthy of a sequel or even like a third one? How do you know, like, all right, one day I'm gonna make another album like So Help Me God 2, or one day I'm gonna make another Role Model song? Like, is it the fans' reception to it? Is it just that there's more you want to say in terms of like that story of that song, or what is it?
Exactly that. I knew that it was time to. I mean, considering the first "So Help Me God" is literally a snapshot of my life, I knew that there was going to be continuations and there was going to be updates on certain situations. Like the first role model was about me, then the second role model was about my father, and I'm not gonna, or the first role model series, like part 1 and 2, which to be exact, and then the third was about my father. And I already told like all the people I'm working with, I'm not writing another one until I have a kid, just to be able to like kind of complete that series, like just to bring everything full circle and stuff. So it I knew that specifically was gonna be one that I had to touch on, just considering everything that was going on in my life and stuff like that. Like we sat in the studio and we had that guitar loop, and then Anthony put drums on it and stuff like that, and it just became this like really like emotional beat. And I was like, yo, just send it to me and call it Role Model Part 3. And like everyone was like, like, I was
shit.
like, yeah, this is gonna be one of those ones. And when I wrote it and recorded it and stuff, like, yeah, people kind of like, yeah, it was misty eyed, but you know, it I can kind of look back on certain situations, like smile and laugh about it, just because it kind of made me who I am. Like I'm grateful for everything that I've gone through and stuff like that. So like these continuations, I knew that I was gonna have to update. Oh, okay, another day, another dollar. Like, okay, so this is gonna be like the more upbeat version of the old one, but it's like there's a certain kind of like hunger and desperation to it. And I knew John Gibbs was gonna knock it out the park with that. So I was like, fam, I know you're on your R&B stuff right now, but please just come out of retirement for one verse. I had the first rap John feature in a long time, so I can brag about that. Like I'm happy about that. And just even Numb, like I don't think people have caught on to this yet, but Numb is a continuation of 10,000 Leagues. It's just with the wave sounds and stuff at the end, like it's pretty much like the same story. And just I knew that the sequel of So Help Me God was gonna get people excited and stuff, and I knew that just certain songs like seeing Role Model Part 3, I feel like that would just catch people's attention and stuff. But more than just catching people's attention, I know that for the sake of updating the story, there was gonna have to be some, just continuations of different records and just different motifs and things that we use, like the phone calls and the voicemails and tape stop effects and things like that. And just certain things that I put in these records. Like I knew that it was gonna make sense to reuse them and go back and just like kind of like make the So Help Me God series just larger and just grander and bring it up to date and stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, now that this project has come out, it's been out by the time this episode comes out, it's been over a month now. Yeah. How are you feeling? Like, what are you, obviously people have seen it. I mean, Matt and I have loved it. I'm sure everyone else has loved it. Where are you at right now in terms of like, what's next for you? Like, are you just
letting it breathe for a little bit,
take some time off, or do you have some ideas and things you're working towards for the future? Like, I don't know, where are you at as an artist right now?
Yeah. So, in the public eye, yeah, I'm not doing anything in the public eye, but I mean, in terms of like So Help Me God stuff, like I'm definitely gonna be promoting it. Like, there's gonna be merch and just different things, like probably videos and stuff that come out of it. But in terms of what's next, I'm kind of like. I'm like obsessive with stuff like that, so I already know the name of like my next 2 albums.
Oh, okay.
And I know what they're gonna sound like, and it's gonna be there's gonna be a certain demographic that's really happy at what the next one sounds like. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I wanna let this one breathe though, give this one some time, just because I feel like it was such a heavy project that, it just needs its space to breathe and stuff like that. So the next thing probably won't be too soon, but they're gonna be seeing my face a lot more, especially just with the promotion of this album. Like I feel like even now up to this point, I've been very much so more like visible than ever before. Like even doing stuff like this, like interviews, like I never really did it.
Yeah, we were shocked you responded.
Like
honestly, we were like we might as well try interviewing him, but I don't know if he'd hop on. But
nah, yeah, because like I'm fully like out with it. Like people are seeing me. Like we got music videos and stuff now, so it's just like it's definitely a lot bigger than it was before. So I'm just gonna let this one breathe and just continue to work it and promote it and stuff. But there's we're gonna start drafting to certain things here soon.
Awesome, man.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah.
Bro, I just have to say once again, Matt and I love your project, and he told me about your music a while ago, but I have to say, like, I didn't really get that into it. Unfortunately, I wish I did earlier, but once So Help Me God 2 came out, I was like, I listened to it right away and I was like, holy shit, like this is amazing. And I just, man, Matt obviously has over the years has opened my eyes to a bunch of like hip hop artists I'd never heard of and just a bunch of music that I was not even familiar with. And then when we started the show, we interviewed a bunch of people that like you're friends with circle, and that you've worked with in the past. So yeah, man, just thanks for doing this interview. It's been so cool to finally talk to you.
Yeah.
Man, thank you guys for having me, bro. Like, it just really means a lot, man, with just the support and the love that this project and stuff has been getting. Like, it's really overwhelming, man. So thank you guys again.
Of course,
bro. Well, where can the listeners, if they hadn't heard of you until now, where can they follow you on social media and where can they find your music?
Everywhere. All social media is at Kaleb Mitchell. On all platforms. So Help Me God 2 is out right now. You can find that anywhere, literally anywhere, and on any streaming platform and stuff. And there's a possibility of vinyls and stuff. So we're kind of working on that idea right now. But yeah, definitely more merch, more visuals, and just a whole lot more surprises coming soon.
Yeah, and where can people watch the short film if they want to? Is that available?
Currently, it was a one night only digital premiere. Okay. But we have been working on some things to be able to get it on certain platforms. So we're holding our breath for that and just working on getting things in order. So hopefully that falls through and we, get our situation together with that. But yeah, as far as watching it now, we're probably gonna have to set up another sort of like paywall or something like that to be able to see it because we've submitted it to different like independent film festivals and things like that, and so they kind of don't want movies that are already out, so we can't really like promote it.
Yeah, they got to be like private for a while.
Yeah. So, and it just got accepted into one, so that was super dope. So
let's go.
Yeah, we're pushing the film too as well as the album. So yeah, that'll be. Hopefully that'll be like available for different people to see it soon.
That's awesome. Yeah. And anytime, whenever it does, even if it's, a few months or a year from now, whenever it's available, we'll update all the listeners so you guys know where you can watch it. Yeah. But anyways, guys, if you guys have any artists that you really like that maybe you think not enough people have heard of, or maybe, just deserves more recognition, feel free to DM us on Instagram at NAS Podcast and we'll reach out to them. But Matt, where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @TheMattMog.
And new song every Thursday for the last
few weeks. Yeah, and we're gonna keep it going. New songs every week.
3 or 4 of those videos were shot by me and edited by me. So go show some love to Matt. But you guys can follow me at Hey Narwhal on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thanks again, Kaleb. This was dope.
Yeah,
and
really
hopefully maybe later down the road, when there's another album out or something, maybe we could have you on again then to talk about new music or something like that.
Most definitely, bro. I'm with it, bro.
Sweet. Well, anyways, guys, new episodes every single Monday, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.